Hello, good day, beautiful people. I am the Inspirational Lady Noble 365 Tarot. Welcome to my channel. I greatly appreciate you being here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I trust you'll love this vibe, and everything you need to know about me is in the description below. This could be past, present, or future, you or someone around you. So take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else. This is a general read. This is not a personal read. If you like a personal read, just simply check out description below and I'll be happy to assist you with doing so. Tarot is a tool. It is not the final rule. It is a good idea for you to have an empty cup when you are on this channel and you really want to see what's up. Thank you all for stopping by and saying hi. Hope you all are feeling dandy for a sweet piece of candy. Okay. Collective, we are starting off with wise person, the wisdom keeper. And so you could be known as the wise person, maybe the wise person in your family, the wisdom keeper. You could be someone who is known as the black sheep. You could be someone who's very different, very unique. This could be in your expression of yourself. How you present yourself to others when you communicate, as well as how you dress, okay? You're very creative and artistic when it comes to your fashion sense. You believe in standing out and being one of a kind. I'm also picking up leadership qualities. You don't mind being the leader or being taking control if called to. Not to say that you're overbearing or you like to be a bully or overstep your boundaries. If you're given the opportunity, you're someone who don't mind taking control. And so I'm picking up on the energy of someone who has done a lot of upgrading, a lots of elevation in your life, lots of healing work, lots of progress. Okay, so much so that's why people assume you to be the wisdom keeper. They feel that you have some kind of hidden knowledge or hidden wisdom, some kind of secret. You're like magic. Okay, this could be the discussion that people are having about you, family, friends, co-workers, maybe even someone that you're dating. They may have not expressed it to you, but they feel when they are around you, you're very magical. And those who have known you, especially people maybe in your family or maybe close friends who have known you since you were a young child on throughout your adulthood, they have watched you accelerate in progress in life, and they are amazed. They are amazed at the progress. They are amazed at the change. Now, there's two different energies here, collective. There's an energy of people who are jealous and envious of your progress, and there are some who are intrigued. They're intrigued so much they would like to know, what is it, okay? And so right away, I'm going to answer their question. What it is you have to connect with divine, yourself. It's an individual thing. We all are divinely and uniquely created, and we all have our own missions and paths here in life. And there isn't a what is it. The collective is who they are, and they're very wise and they're successful in their progress because they have chosen not to be a follower. And so that's why I mentioned that the collective has leadership qualities, okay? And so that's why they're known, once again, I must hold it up, as the wise person, the wisdom keeper. The collective is not doing anything nefarious. They are just simply minding the business that pays them. And so people are very shocked at the progress that you have achieved and things you have overcame in your life. But the magic is, and the secret is, the collective is not a follower. I'm speaking to those who are of leadership qualities, those who hold leadership abilities, those who are not followers, those who are not troublemakers, those who are not toxic. The collective are not people who are likely to wake up on a daily looking to create some kind of friction. I'm also picking up on someone or a portion of people whom are watching this video who are very grateful, grateful for what they have and who they are. And you're someone who tries to make the best out of all situations. Not to say that you are pretending, or being fake, but you're very appreciative of life. And you have an understanding that gratitude should always be the attitude. And that's what is pushing you forward. Being grateful, being thankful, and just taking what is around you and co-creating with the universe the life that you desire. And so that is the secret, cross watchers, of what's bringing the collective so much positive energy, prosperity, happiness. That's that glow and that's that magic that you feel when you are around them. There are people, collective, whom you no longer have any dealings with, who are fighting their way to get back in your good graces. They would love to be around you. They would love to communicate with you. You could have people trying to, who is fully aware that you don't want any dealings with them, because I'm picking up also there are some people whom you left behind because maybe in the past, your relationship with that person for at one time or another was not very positive. Maybe the last time that you spoke to that person, it wasn't a very positive conversation or something happened. Whatever the reason is, you chose to move on with your life. But these same people who have crossed you, and betrayed you, are the same people who are watching you and observing you, collective, and they want to be back in your life so much so that they're trying to force themselves, which is very odd because I would never force myself where I haven't been invited or I'm not wanted. And so you got some weird energy here, kind of like a stalker energy here. They see that you are independent and they feel that you are wealthy. There could be rumors that you have some kind of fortune, that you came into some kind of inheritance. But, whether this is true or not, this is really none of their business. What your finances are, what you are doing, collective, is nobody's business. And yes, you have made a lot of progress, but your personal business is for you, to endure. And if you want to share, that is up to you. But there are people from your past who are trying to reach out and reconnect with you for the wrong reasons. It's not for any reasons that are positive. There are people who are unhealed and still being messy, and they want to come and inflict some of their mess onto you. I'm also picking up there are some people, maybe family members or friends, who aren't in a good space in their life personally. They could be, living out of their shadow side. These are people who are unhealed. These are people who are not trying to progress in life. And these are people who are likely to pull up to your home uninvited because they have nothing to do, which is weird again within itself because I would never go anywhere where I'm not invited, okay? That's just kind of like a stalkerish vibe, okay? Also, you could be the topic of discussion, okay? You're the topic of discussion because you're very resilient, collective. There is talks about all that you have overcome. You're someone who has experienced a lot. You've been through a lot of heartache and pain from family, from friends, from relationships. You've been in unhealthy connections, people you have dated who have crossed you. You've had family who's probably stolen from you, all kinds of betrayal, but you were able to persevere and you're very resilient. And so this is why you're the topic of discussion. And, it's making people, they're a chatty patty, you're the topic of discussion and they're very focused on you. So much so that Spirit is saying that there are people who are missing out on their own opportunities because they're giving too much of their attention to what you are doing. They're too focused on you. And by them doing that, they're blocking their own blessings and opportunities. Okay? All right. Because you are simply minding your business. I don't I don't see you doing anything. I see you as someone very introverted. You could be someone who loves to be alone. Not that you're sad or depressed. You just know how to be alone, and it's your me time. It's your time where you fine tune your spiritual connection. You could be someone who also loves meditation as well. Very spiritually inclined, whoever you are, but you're very resilient and very resourceful when it comes to being independent. And there are people who want to know what you are up to. They want to reconnect with you. But deep down inside, collective, I gotta say it, they know darn well they have no business even expecting you to respond to them. They know darn well if they pull up to your home, they should not expect you to open the door. Even if they were to see you out in the streets while you're running errands, they know they will get nothing but probably a deuce in the air, Chris Brown, and keep on going. They know without a conversation being had. And what I'm about to say is, it is a really a narcissistic trait. The narcissist loves to try to return to your life, even after they have crossed you without even, have apologizing or showing any remorse for what has taken place or having a conversation. They will pop up and try to return to your life as if nothing has happened. They will also try to slander your name and spread rumors and gossip and try to turn other people against you just to control the narrative and make themselves look good. They will carry a lie to their grave. Okay. And so you don't have to be bothered with these people. Spirit is saying these are people who are unhealed. If this is family, it's okay to love them from a distance. You do not have to have survivor's remorse. And Spirit is saying that you are protected. And so anyone that tries to form any weapons your way with the Page of Swords here, trust and know that you are protected. And, all the energy that they project out onto you will be returned to them. Why? Because it is law. They're busy being curious, curiosity, as I told you at the beginning, they're overextending themselves into your life and the energy is unwarranted. You're minding your business. You owe these people nothing. You owe them no conversation or explanation. And if these are people that you don't want to deal with, well, that's fine and okay. But yeah, I'm getting up some kind of like a stalker energy. There's someone, and I keep saying stalker because there's someone who you don't deal with. This could be family as well, okay, or someone close to the family who's trying to assert themselves, and they know that they're not welcome in your presence, and so that gives off stalker energy. Someone who has some kind of personality disorder, because you should never want to assert yourself where you're not wanted as well as where you haven't been invited. It just doesn't look good. Okay. The next card we have here is the Death card. And so I see you. You could have Scorpio placement in your chart. Okay. Any placement, but with the 1 and the 3 equaling a 4, 4 represents stability and structure. And so collective, you're busy working on stability and structure in your life. And so I see you putting an end, as this horse is trampling through, moving past all these people, not trying to step on anyone, but if you're in the way, you will get hurt. And so that's what your ancestors, and that's what the Most High is saying. These people are trying to overextend and assert themselves where they don't belong. Touch not my anointing. You are intercepting with God's plan. And so you have to be mindful who you box with, when it comes to particular spaces and places, spiritually speaking, and so if they choose to keep extending themselves or trying to force themselves where they have not been invited, nor do they belong, there is a repercussion for that. But this has nothing to do with you. This is a them problem. And so hopefully they will take heed and focus on themselves, because I heard clearly Spirit is saying that they're going to miss out on their own blessings and opportunities in their personal life. Okay. The next card we have here, as I speak of opportunities, look at that. We got the 7 of Cups. This is multiple options. This represents having more than one option. And they're going to miss out on their opportunity to have options in what area of their life that they are currently lacking in. This could be their career, their finances, their love life. This could be a home situation. Someone could be looking for housing, but instead of focusing on that, they're minding your business. Maybe they're trolling your social media page, maybe they're riding by your house. Maybe they're popping up unannounced, maybe they're slandering your name and telling lies on you. Someone's going to miss out on their opportunity, on their favor and blessing, because it's like a misappropriation of energy. They're asserting themselves where they don't belong. And for that is a repercussion. Okay. Those people are going to get stepped on because they are simply in the way. Okay. So yeah, so stay where you're supposed to be, okay? It's like how an adult talks to their child, go where you're supposed to be. Go where you're supposed to be. And so when you're not where you're supposed to be in life, whether physically or spiritually, there is a repercussion for that. You miss out on your own opportunity, because no matter who you are and what your belief system is, we all are being watched and accounted for. And energy is real. What you put out comes back to you. And so if you're trying to, attract or manifest or pray for something that you need in your personal life, but you're on a daily doing the reciprocal, you're projecting negative energy, you're plan plotting, you're strategizing to get someone, you're gossiping, you're lying on someone. Well, that has to return to you, and karma does not forget an address. And so when you're delegating your affairs or you're taking care of business, it could be you, it could be your child or someone close to you, and you wonder why things aren't going right. It's because, you are projecting onto the collective and the energy is unwarranted, so that's a good example how things can possibly, turn out for these people who are trying to assert themselves collective. But Spirit is saying for you to stay focused. There are people trying to get you upset. There are people who want to be confrontational, but there's no need for you to be confrontational. Confirmation. If you ever run into that kind of situation, do what you have to do, whether you have to make a phone call or, but Spirit is saying these people are nothing to worry about because what they are doing, they are digging a hole for themselves, and it's like quicksand. Each step you take, it gets deeper and deeper. And, it's not about a belief system. Just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean it isn't happening or it isn't occurring. And so that's the tricky part, when it comes to energy, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to just energy, I'll just say energy, people take part and doing a lot of mean and nefarious things, diabolical things to people. But it's law that what you put out must come back to you, and it's not about you believing in it. It just is what it is. It's like gravity. It's like the air that you breathe. You're breathing it. Whether you believe it's there or not. And so people forget all about that. And then when they're moving about in their life and things aren't going right, then they become shocked. I wonder why this is happening, why that is happening. Well, what have you been up to? What kind of energy are you putting out? You have to really look at yourself in the mirror and just be honest. What kind of energy have I been putting out? Am I being fair? And so when those things arrive, don't be shocked. And so we should always be mindful of our words as well as our thoughts as well. Okay. As well as the energy that we put out. Okay. Next card we have here is the Magician card. It says creativity, action, power, performance, skill, and magic. Okay. So this is the energy collective that I said people, they feel like you have some kind of magic. You are the person that withholds a lot of wisdom, okay? They feel like you have some kind of superpower. Your aura, your energy, whenever you are around, you make people feel that way. I'm going to put this up here, okay? You see this magician have their wand, their cup, their sword, their pentacle, and he has it before them, okay, as well as an infinity symbol here. And so all that you have endured, has turned into great knowledge for you collective. And you are applying it over time and it's turning into wisdom. And you're utilizing that wisdom and you're co-creating with the universe. And you are just finding a way to continuously push forward. And as I say, you're very independent. You're very resourceful. So much so, you've got people scratching their head. They're wondering about you. It's tripping them out because, see, they could be people who are maybe not independent. They're not hardworking. You are. You could be an innovative person. Okay. Maybe they aren't. Okay. You have leadership qualities. They don't. They're followers. Okay. And so it's like you're just a reciprocal of these people who are trying to attach themselves to you, or either you are on their mind, but there is someone thinking about you collective day and night, like seriously, very hooked and they're dwelling on you. That's that stalker energy. Okay. And so this person, they're losing themselves. They're losing balance, trying to keep up with the collective, busy watching you and giving you all their power. The more they think about you and watch you, they're giving away their power and energy. And once again, it's not about a belief system. It's law. It just is what it is. And so the more that they focus on you, the more that they deplete themselves. That goal that they were working on, not going to work. Maybe their application they put in, denied. Maybe their finances will start depleting. Maybe they may have problems in their relationship, in their love life, things going on in the home front because they are misappropriating their energy. They are asserting themselves where they don't belong. Okay. And so they are sending out the signal that the favor and the opportunity that is for them in their own personal life and their own personal path that the divine has for them, that they're not interested. They're sending that signal out and people don't get it. And it's just that easy. You're sending that signal out. When you are planning, plotting, strategizing against others, I don't care who you are. That goes for me too as I speak to you. You are sending out the signal that you are not open to progress. You are sending out the opportunity that you do not want any prosperity to come your way, that you are not open to receive because you are distracted. And it's easy to miss out on the favor, on the blessing, on the opportunity when you are distracted, when there's so much noise going around, around you, or you have so much friction, or you're anxious, or you're busy just trying to, oh, let's go see what they're doing. And I know that they don't want me in their life, but I heard they're doing good. And I don't like that they're doing good because I told everybody they're doing bad. And I want to make sure that I don't like a liar. So let me attach myself. Let me attach myself, even though I know I'm not wanted, because I want to try to just inflict some mess on them. It just doesn't work that way, And then as you move forward, like I said, a person will wonder why this is happening and that is happening. You have to be honest with yourself and, look in the mirror, how have I been? Who have I crossed in my life? Have I been fair? Everything is where it needs to be according to actions taken. Everything is where it needs to be according to actions taken. And that's why we have to be mindful of our actions, our words, and our thoughts. It's that serious. Spirit is saying it's that serious. We have the beautiful Three of Pentacles here. Okay. Apprenticeship, learning, research, growth, hard work, and commitment. And so Source is saying, collective, for you to continue to work on your commitment. You're on the right path. You're doing wonderful. This reading here is not to project fear. This is just a spiritual notification, that you have haters, jealous people who you don't deal with for some reason. They're dwelling on you. You're on their mind day or night. Like I said, they could be riding by your house, pulling up to your house, gossiping about you, trolling your social media if you have a platform, or if not, you may just post pictures. I don't know. But either way, you're the topic of discussion. Okay, someone is even discussing you having pillow talk. Okay, when they finish making whoopee with their honey, they want to talk about you, and they could be getting into spats with their spouse because their spouse is like, honey, why do you want to talk about that? Let's do a round two. Why are you so focused on the collective? We can do a round two. We don't have to spend our time gossiping. These people are afraid that your world is changing and without them. But because the circle is closed, which represents a portal, guess what? They're too late. Your world has already changed, collective. So keep moving forward. And these folks aren't invited, and they're in their fields. They feel some type of way. They feel some type of way. So much so they're sad about it when they should really look at the two cups behind them and work on their own progress. This is them being angry because they cannot go with you on this new journey. They cannot go with you. They can't be a part of it. This could be people who are users, who are takers, not givers. Okay. This could be family. This could be friends, okay? This could be people you used to date, you no longer date. This could even be someone you used to date who dumped you and said you weren't the one, but now, years later, they want to look back and get back. They want that old thing back. But back then, they didn't want you. Oh, the nerve of some people. And the next card we have ooh, boy, the burden, the stress. They want you to be in the struggle and you're not in the struggle. You're doing wonderful. You look good doing it. Spirit wants you to stay focused. Protect yourself as you need to if you feel you need to be, but do not be full of worry or anxiety. No weapons that they form will ever prosper. It will only return to sender. It will always return to its rightful sender, to the person who owns that energy, because it's law. Okay? So stay in the high vibration that you are. That's why this progress is happening for you, because you are properly aligned. You are not at this point in your life, collective, to be left behind, or because you have not done the work. The energy I'm picking up on, as I said at the very beginning, this is someone who has done a lot of work on themselves. You've endured a lot, but you have not allowed anything to take you down or make you feel like you're not worthy. And you're not backing down now. You understand that you are always highly protected. Okay? There's a higher power working for you. Okay? And I'm also picking up that you fight in a different way, which is beautiful. So someone may want to come to you in the physical. They might want an altercation, they might want to provoke you, but you fight in a different way. And that's wisdom right there. And that's why you are the wisdom keeper. Okay? You fight in a different way. You don't move the way others move. And that's why the Ace of Pentacles is here. Abundance, prosperity, success. Okay? Being given a hand. All right? Potential for abundance. Financial new beginning, new job, new business, savings, property, security, stability, and great performance. Okay? So you could have a business or maybe some kind of brand that you're trying to work on, you're building. Maybe you are concerned, or will you prosper? You will be successful. Spirit is saying stick with it and stay with it. Okay? And slow and steady does win the race. Don't compare your methods or how you advertise or your numbers to anyone. Just make sure you stay focused and don't throw in the towel on yourself. Okay? Next card we have here, confirmation. All right, the Chariot. All right, that's that Chariot energy with the motorbike in the background. Confirmation. There's even more increasing balance coming into your life. More alignment as you move forward. More balance, more prosperity, and more alignment. Giving you access to new victories to celebrate, to honor and be honored, and people applauding you and supporting. There will be new energies placed in your path, collective, who will be happy for you. These are people who are not jealous. These are people who want to see you win. Simply beautiful. So stay focused on yourself. Keep vibing high. This is just a spiritual notification. This is not a read of projecting fear. That you got some haters and some jelly folks, little jelly. They want to assert themselves and force themselves where they are not wanted, or nor have they been invited. Okay, but all is well. I hope this concludes your read. Later.